parents abandoned her when she was just 8 years old. She was mistreated, but she never gave up. And she taught me to do the same. My mom's life and what she went through are big reasons why standing up for kids and families became such a big part of my life.
Up until now, they have been those little cracks one sees in a master plan. A Benghazi outburst here, a slap at being broke with $1 million in the bank there. But as Hillary Clinton opens her checkbook and starts the inevitable TV ad campaign, she and her cagey band of strategic insiders are a lot more concerned than they let on at the moment, because Joe Biden is no longer just lurking. He appears to be right there on the cusp of ruining Hillary's plan for the inauguration. So let's dig into this side of the matter and see how everything affects the GOP moving forward. He is former lead counsel for the Democratic Party of Virginia, Stephen Cobb, joined by National Republican message and media strategist Rick Wilson. Gentlemen, thanks so much for being here. And Rick, I'm going to start with you from the Republican side. Wonderful ads from Hillary Clinton. Warm, fuzzy. I'm just the person you want. Wait a minute. These are the ads we should have seen maybe in 2008. And it sure seems odd that they come out making you warm and fuzzy when Joe Biden's just sort of lurking in the side, does it not?
Well, look, I think what drove these ads, because they were produced a while before this happened, I think what really drove these ads was the fact that Hillary's numbers about being trustworthy and honest have crashed. Her approval numbers are declining quickly. And yes, she's seeing Joe Biden coming up in his yellow Camaro in the rearview mirror. And she's definitely worried that this is a guy who is unconstrained by any of the problems that she has and could definitely pose a threat. I think these ads were planned well in advance. I don't think they were directly about Biden, but the timing sure does seem suspicious.
Stephen, let's talk about that timing. What do you think about that? And not only that, but what about the tone here? Because, again, we're still not talking about issues here. Mrs. Clinton is back trying to make people think that she's warm and fuzzy again.
Well, I don't think that they're making their advertisements, or sorry, their campaign videos at this point because of Joe Biden or because of anything that people are saying in polls right now. I think this is part of the schedule that their campaign is laying out. And these are very good biographical sketches. There's the one that you talked about with her mother, and there's the other one that talks about her biographical sketch and talks about her time working for the Children's Defense Fund and up through her time as Secretary of State. And these are very important. They give those voters the background of who she is and why she's running. And that's really important for any candidate to kind of lay that foundation to allow your electorate to get to know you on a personal level.
But Stephen, didn't we know this, though? I mean, honestly, I hate to interrupt, but didn't we know this already about her? We've sort of seen a lot of this before. We've heard a lot of this. She's talked about this. It just seems to be nothing more than just a rehash, trying to once again make people think that she's one of them.
And I think if she was jumping in immediately with policy videos right now, you would say, who does she think she is? She's just assuming we all know who she is. She's taking nothing for granted and is, going as voter to voter. And so these advertisements are specifically that. They are going for taking no voter for granted, not assuming that anyone knows who she is or what her story's about, and to start there ground level with each of them and build her campaign from the ground up. And she's starting on in a strong way in that regard.
All right, Rick, let me get back to you then when it comes down to Joe Biden. Let's deal with what this elephant in the room is right now. If you look at all the different ads and all the different articles right now, you'll see that he's ready. He's talked to his family about it. His son talked to him about it before his untimely passing. But then here's Paul Waldman from the Washington Post today saying, sorry, folks, Joe Biden is not running for president. So here we go again. I truly believe that he will, because why not, right?
Look, why not? What does Joe Biden have to lose at this point in his career? He has checked off every other box in Washington possible. He's always wanted to be president. He got a free pass for a lot of reasons today, because there is a great anxiety in the Democratic Party that Hillary Clinton isn't quite there, not quite progressive enough, not quite polished enough. And the fact that she's having to roll out ads to try to redefine her image for the 15th time, that she's been in the public spotlight for almost 40 years of her adult life, that it's puzzling to Democrats, where they have Biden, who may be a clown and a boob and a joker in a lot of ways, but he's an authentic character. He's a real person. They feel that Joe Biden isn't as poised and as postured and as careful and as hedging all the time as Hillary. And that's why you've seen this sort of enthusiasm and this Joe-mentum building up both in Washington and beyond, because there was a discomfort that Hillary Clinton just didn't have it quite together. And if they have a choice between Joe Biden, who was actually ahead of the curve on Hillary on things like gay marriage and other progressive values, they may have a chance to look at this guy and say, you know what, let's give him a shot.
Steve, are you even willing at this point to admit that Hillary Clinton is a little bit shaky at this time, that there is concern about Biden, and there is no more immediate coronation set for Mrs. Clinton? She's got work to do.
Well, I don't think even the folks on her campaign would say that there was going to be an immediate coronation. I think they expected this to be a hard-fought campaign, and that's the exact mentality they're moving forward with. Although I am kind of skeptic over whether or not the vice president is seriously looking to jump in. Clearly, there's a strong affinity for him within the Democratic Party, but I haven't heard from any of the operational Democratic folks, the high-level staffers who you would expect to jump in and work on a presidential campaign, or the high-level fundraising types in these same sort of conversations. It seems to be at this point mostly media who are discussing the potential for Joe Biden to jump in, and not the operational folks who you think would be a necessity if that was going to be a serious challenge.
Would you like him to get in?
You know, I think whether or not he jumps in or not, whether he stays as just as vice president or becomes candidate Biden, he will always have a very important voice and for democratic ideals in the future of this country. And I'm sure whether or not he's a candidate, he'll continue to make himself heard. And I think we're all better for that.
I got to tell you, I only got a minute left, and Rick Wilson there, he's just like the Cheshire Cat over there. He's got the grin on his face just at that question himself. So, Rick, I'm going to let you answer that. But let me ask you, Rick, how does Joe Biden, if Joe Biden gets into the race, and if he then becomes the nominee, how does that change the GOP targeting to go after their opponent?
Look, at that point, it becomes Joe Biden as the chief defender of Barack Obama's disastrous legacy for the last 6.5 years. At that point, it's Joe Biden, the cheerleader, Joe Biden, the guy who could never find a thing that Barack Obama has done even slightly wrong in the course of his tenure. Either Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton, they're both having to saddle the burden of Barack Obama's tenure and legacy. And for a lot of voters in this country, that is not a happy legacy right now. And either way, I feel like the Republicans have a tremendous shot at posting either one of them into the frame of having to be the defender of Barack Obama, who is not the most popular guy in the country right now.
I got to tell you, I would love to see a debate between Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden.
Whether it's Biden or whether it's Hillary or whether it's some other Democrat, we're going to have 6 years of job growth. We're going to have a new health care system that's lowering the amount of uninsured, and there's going to be a strong message to run on.
Stephen, we're going to have you and Rick Wilson back again because we are just getting started and the debate is right around the corner. Like I said, I would love to see Hillary against Joe Biden. Stephen, Cobb, Rick Wilson, thanks so much for joining us, gentlemen. We'll do it again soon. Coming up next, the political animal. Next on the fastest 60 minutes in news.